taxes are the biggest expense to a business. So you need to look at your accountant like they are a profit center, like they are a very small investment that brings you back a return because of the money that you're not missing anymore.
Sales Ascenders, happy Wednesday, and also Merry Christmas. This isn't just any Santa coming to you today. It's South Pole Santa. Today, we are here with yet another rock star. We are spotlighting a gentleman that has started with some massive problems, some massive pain, and through that, acquired the skills needed to survive and also thrive. He is going to be helping us with accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, taxes, best practices. This is the place you want to be and the info that you need for your business and your life. We're going to get into that today. And in order to do it, we got to bring him out. Kale, how's it going, my man?
Oh, it's going great, man. Thanks for having me on today. I'm excited to be here and be a part of the group. So I appreciate it.
Thanks for making the time. Hey, we're going to get into your story next in just a second. Everyone watching, I wanted to take just a second to show you all this because this is a big deal. Okay, check this out. Kale started this podcast with his business partner Trevor, real business owners. You can see that they actually episode 82 actually just dropped today, right before Christmas Eve, and they're going to be talking about defining what success means to you. And they brought on Ryan Williams, who's a former Navy SEAL and founder of an industry, ThreadWorks. They're going to be talking about company culture, managing employees, and clarifying your vision. Hey, I'm taking a second just to highlight this. I've listened to this podcast myself personally. This is quality content. This is quality content for real business owners, which that's what all of you are watching this. So and also just a quick shout out. Easier Accounting. Listen, they've got, look at this. Look how official that office is. I loved this video, like this banner video. If you go just to facebook.com/easier accounting, you can see that they're just doing great work, having a great solid team. They've been doing this for a while. So definitely take some time, check that out with any accounting, bookkeeping, tax, payroll type needs that you have. Kale's doing some great work there alongside an amazing team. So, Kale, that said, let's get into your story. I know every sales professional, it's like they all have how did you get into sales? If you get into accounting and taxes and payroll, how did you land there, man?
Dude, it's a crazy story, man. So I was 18 years old. I hadn't even graduated high school yet. Actually, I was 17 years old. Hadn't even graduated high school yet. And I found out I was going to be a father as a senior in high school. And, I dropped out of high school. I had to get a job. I had to figure out how to feed this family. I went and took my GED. I jumped around from different jobs, stocking shelves at the grocery store, working at Walmart distribution. And it just wasn't, it just wasn't for me, man. I couldn't just just float by life and just accept that, I was just going to be a minimum wage worker or whatever my rest of my life. I came from a family where financial problems were really deep, a huge problem in the household. And I decided, okay, I'm going to do something totally different. And I joined the military. And I thought they're going to pay for me to go to college. I joined the Air National Guard. And while I was waiting to go to boot camp, I actually had a guy. I was looking to buy a car before I left my wife and my new baby. Before I left at boot camp, I was looking for a new car with air conditioning because we didn't even have air conditioning in our car. Wow. And we live in southern Utah, right by Las Vegas, so it's like 115 degrees in the summer. Sometimes record breaking in the 100. That's
kind of a problem.
Yeah. And so I met these guys, and they said, "Hey, man, we sold the car that you were interested in. It was a Toyota Camry, 1998." And he said, "But I go to the auction almost every week and buy new cars. There's always Camrys rolling through there. If you don't mind, come with us and you can just pick the one you want." And I'm like, "Oh, that actually sounds pretty good." I was pre-approved for a loan, and I said, "Let's do it." And I rode down with these guys. One of them was the owner of a sales company. The other guy that actually flipped cars on the side was the guy with his dealer's license, was a head of marketing for that company. And I just listened to him talk the whole way down to Las Vegas and back to the car auction. And I was like, man, I really need to try this sales thing. And they kind of recruited me in that moment after spending a day in Las Vegas with them buying a car. And I jumped into sales, and I started making pretty good money. And I started doing the math, and I was like, well, I'm not going to make very much money in the Air National Guard for a long time. And like, I didn't know if I should give that up or I shouldn't, but I had a few months to figure it out. And I just kept getting better and better at sales and making more and more money. And I was like, I can't leave my family to go, make $18,000 a year in the National Guard. And I need to feed them now. And so I was on pace to make like $50,000 or $60,000 a year my first year in sales, and I just couldn't fathom going backwards. And so I ended up calling my recruiter at the Air National Guard and said, "Man, I'm not going to make it to boot camp." He talked me into pushing it off a few more months, and I did, and I started making even more money. And so I finally just said, "Hey, I'm not going to boot camp. It's not going to happen." And so that's how I got into sales. Well, I was an independent sales guy.
Yeah.
And this guy came and talked to us. And he was from a tax and accounting company, and he started talking about all the deductions you can take as an independent sales operator, and if you had a home office, and all the deductions you could take, and all this, the extra little perks of being a business owner, a solo business owner, or a home-based business owner. I thought that was really cool, so I made a time to sit down with him more. Turned out he was hiring. So after a couple years in my first sales job, I ended up working for this guy doing sales at his accounting firm. I just kind of latched onto him.
Interesting.
So I became, to be quite honest, I just want to make more money. That's all I cared about. But as I became more developed in the tax and accounting industry, I just kept getting more and more passionate about it, because that was the biggest problem in my household, in my upbringing coming up, was IRS problems. My dad was a contractor, and he was horrible at managing his money. He was horrible at paying his taxes. He got audited. He owed all this money. He couldn't dig himself out of that hole ever. And they liened our home. They levied his bank accounts. My mom had to go get a job. And then they garnished her paychecks, and they contacted his suppliers. Any credits he had there, they would take it. So, I just learned through my upbringing that taxes was no joke, and it was really detrimental to a lot of business owners. And, for a long time as a kid, I remember thinking, why would anybody want to be a business owner when the IRS can do all this to you, right? And so
wow.
I was really grateful for my time at working at this accounting firm, because not only did I learn a ton that led me to owning my own accounting firm, but it gave me the courage to start my own business and realize taxes aren't that scary. We just have to be on top of it. We've got to be responsible. No one's going to care about your money more than you will.
Man, that's so powerful. A couple of things. I'm getting a couple chills over here as you're saying that, because I've heard that language. I've even felt some of those phrases where you can't climb out.
Yeah.
Your business is running you. You're not running your business.
Right.
And it starts with knowing your numbers, period.
Absolutely.
If you don't know your numbers, you don't know where it's coming from, who gets it, and why, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
This part of business is a game. We got to know our numbers. So you go down this journey of really mastering the numbers. And hey, everyone listening, this is a conversation. Please comment, share your business woes. Share if you've ever been kind of stuck in the numbers game, or if you figured it out. Ask any accounting questions that you have. Comment. We're watching them. You have Kale's attention here. I'm holding him captive for the next little bit here. So this is your shot. But so you're in this journey. Sales, man. I gotta pay some bills, support the marriage, the family. Boot camp is looking less and less interesting,
right,
because the checks are looking more and more interesting. And then you end up selling for accounting, and then at that point I can feel that it became personable.
Yeah.
And at some point, I think for most business owners, it's been almost 10 years for myself now. At some point there's something that switches and it becomes personable. It becomes like a mission. And that's what happened for you. So, but where we're at in the story right now is you're selling for somebody else. And so walk us through kind of that growth and transition.
Yeah, so I really latched onto the actual accountants and CPAs that worked at the accounting firm, and I was just thirsty for the knowledge. So I spent a lot of time with them. Like, listen, if I've got to sell this stuff, I've got to talk the talk with these business owners. I got to know some stuff. Well, actually, I probably didn't, because 90% of the business owners I talked to, they didn't want to know anything about accounting. They wanted to avoid it naturally. So it was actually really easy for me to sell this product, because I was like, man, they actually don't know very much. But I was just thirsty for the knowledge, and I wanted to know more, and I wanted to be able to educate people through the sales process and really get through to them. And obviously I wanted to make money, but I really wanted to learn because it was just such a huge problem in my upbringing that I wanted to help as much as I possibly could. And so I really latched onto them. I spent a lot of time with them learning the sales, or not the sales, but the tax and accounting rules, right? At least the bare minimum to sell it. Well, over the years, I just continued on that educational journey and trying to develop as much as I possibly could. And still to this day, like I just finished reading another book by Todd Wheelwright about all about taxes and just to pick up those little nuggets where I can gain a little bit more. But that was what separated me from a lot of the other guys that were in the sales department, is I was thirsty for that knowledge. I became their top sales rep for 2 years in a row. I recruited some more sales guys. I built a team of sales guys there. One of the guys I recruited and trained ended up taking over my spot as #1 sales guy. And at that time, I had started my very first side hustle, my first side business. And my boss felt like I had lost focus there at the firm. And he basically pulled me in and said, hey, if you're not here 100%, I don't want you here. And maybe you'll thank me one day, but I'm kicking you off the fence. And he fired me. Even though I was still #2 out of like 12 sales guys, and my team was still #1, and my recruit was #1. He kicked me off the fence. He fired me, and so I went all in.
Like trying to prove something to like the team or rally them up or something.
I learned a lot from him. He was a great leader and a horrible leader, right? I learned a lot of positives and negatives from him. I learned great things, and I learned a lot of things of what not to do from him. But I was really grateful for that experience because it really did force me to go all in on that side hustle with my first partner, and we built a pretty cool business. But after a couple years of running our business, which it was actually, my partner wrote a course on how to day trade in the foreign currency market. And it was before you got all these DMs from like forex guys, right?
Right. It's a little more popular now.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. But after a couple of years of doing that and building our first successful business, I was like, man, I really want to get back into the tax and accounting game. And so I partnered with some accountants. We brought a CPA in, we brought advisors in. I already knew how to sell it. I already knew how to create some leads for it. And so we started from the ground up building our own accounting firm. And that was in 2008, so okay. Here we are in 2020 going into 2021, and we've been nationwide from the get-go. So we've learned and adapted a lot over the years, like with cloud-based technology. We didn't have that when we first started, and so we've learned so much over the years. But as far as adapting and growing and just knowledge and tax code changing and all that stuff. So yeah,
that's awesome. Well, hey, we have James Golden in the house.
Yeah, I know James.
James, right on. Well, he's saying what's up, and he has some kind words for you there that I'd throw out there. So awesome human, and his firm Easier Accounting is outstanding. So you got some fans out there. So thanks, James, for dropping in. Good to hear from you, man. So I mean, over a decade now, cloud-based, other tools, resources, moving faster, more efficiently. For you guys, I'd like to move into some best practices, like end of year best practices. Let's talk payroll. Let's talk accounting, taxes, of course. Maybe like, top 2, top 3 best practices for end of year.
Well, I mean, if we want to be really honest, the best practices for end of year is not wait till the end of the year, right?
Punchline. Yes.
I
gotta write that down.
That's the biggest problem is end of the year comes. And that's when all accountants and CPAs start getting really, really, really busy. And because everybody wants to fit in at the end of the year, and then everybody wants to fit in right at tax filing deadlines, right? And so when you're looking at your CPA or your accountant's calendar and it's completely jammed up and there's just that little window he can squeeze you in, I mean, are you really going to get the most effective tax return from that guy? Probably not. I mean, they're bringing you as the business owner are bringing everything that to your CPA or your accountant, and he's basically just doing what you're bringing him because he doesn't have the time to really like dig into your books and really look for things that might have been missed. And so, and if you don't know about those things, then your tax returns are going to get filed with a lot of errors or a lot of mistakes, and it's not necessarily your tax guy's fault. It's your fault, right? And so we really like to avoid by creating systems and processes with people to stay on top of it all year long. And I always tell people, in fact, I had to do a speaking gig last year, and it was the first time I asked this question, but I was like, how many of you would rather just spend 15 minutes a month with your accountant, staying on top of things versus, spending 8 to 20 hours at the end of the year, banging your head against the wall, trying to figure out on your own, taking the mess with somebody else, and hoping for the best possible tax return. And everyone raised their hand, because that is 99% of the time what people are doing in business, especially if they're in their first few years and they haven't developed good financial habits, is they're doing that system that is so backwards and broken. And so it's definitely a problem we've been trying to solve in our firm.
So wait a second, Kale. So you're saying that the tension that us business owners feel, and the annoyance and the frustration and the digging, wait, that's also felt on the other side. So I think it's good to go through what's the SOP? What does it look like on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis of having that conversation? And I kind of the framework I'd like to talk through this is from the eyes of a business owner, which you also are,
Right.
on I like this idea of how do we set up our accountant and bookkeepers to make their job easy and to do the best, most effective job really for our business. What does that communication cadence look like?
For us, it's monthly minimum, right? So so there's really a double accountability thing here. Like, first of all, you got to understand and realize as a business owner that really nobody, and I already said it, but nobody's going to care about your money more than you. So, but at the same time, accountants, they want the clients, they want that revenue all throughout the year, but have they really developed the systems and processes to really service business owners the way that they need to be serviced? That's one of the edges that we have in our accounting firm, is that I'm not a CPA. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a sales guy. I'm a serial entrepreneur. My job is to train our accountants and our team members and our CPAs how to service business owners the way that they need to be serviced. And at the end of the day, you need to find, as a business owner, an accounting firm, and I'm not saying just us. I mean, do some research, interview multiple accounting firms, find somebody that's developed their systems and processes to legitimately work with you all throughout the year. So we've trained our teams of accountants to where it's mandatory that they have to deliver P&Ls every single month to their clients, and they've got to hop on a phone call with them. Okay, they can't just say, here's your P&L in an email and say, wish you luck, later on, hit us up when you have questions. I mean, we make sure that we get them on the phone. We answer any questions that they have. We clean up any unrecognized transactions. Then we discuss their P&L with them. It's 15-minute call. Everybody feels good, unless they have a lot more questions. If they do have a lot more questions, then we can handle those as we go throughout the year. That way, everything is clean for the end of the year. So accountants and firms have got to be responsible. They got to understand from a business owner standpoint that they can't just expect the client to do it all on their own. Business owners don't want to do it on their own. They want help, but they do need to be held accountable, if that makes sense. And then on the accountability side of the business owner, they've got to be accountable for finding somebody that really is going to work with them throughout the year, and they've got to stick to that schedule. They've got to make that a priority. And it really should be a priority in a lot of areas of your finances. You should have a good personal budget. You should have a monthly meeting with your accountant. And most importantly, you should have a tax plan at the beginning of the year, not at the end of the year. I actually follow a lot of other accounting firms, and almost all of them are doing posts on their social media right now that are saying, it's tax planning season. You better get in before the end of the year so nothing's missed. And it is great. It is great to have a check-in with your accountant at the end of the year and make sure nothing is missed. But you need to have a plan at the beginning of the year. An initial tax plan is so powerful because it's an actual plan that you can follow through the year, as opposed to just trying to do things all at the end of the year. Some of the tax tips that we teach on throughout the year, you can't go back and do, in January, February, March, April, May, June. You can't go back and do them. You have to do them throughout the year. Like if you are going to incorporate your kids and pay them, or if you are going to utilize the Augusta rule and pay your business or pay yourself personally from the business for using your home as a venue, like you got to actually have those transactions throughout the year to get those tax breaks. And so a tax plan initially is probably like the biggest tip I can give somebody, and then find an accountant that is going to work with you throughout the year.
Man, I hope somebody else is hearing this right now, because so on a personal note, just to go with what you're saying is, in some of our business, like our software company before, I became friends with QuickBooks because I had to. And I mean, I wouldn't say we're best friends, but like we hung out. And after making some of these transitions that you said, and we have a plan, and continuing to evolve and put a plan in place for 2021, and it's going to be an ongoing conversation. I was like, oh, I didn't feel alone in it anymore. I had help classifying, like I could figure it out, but it took, logically I knew like the amounts and stuff, but I'm like, it's still probably not categorized right. It was painful. And every time I spent time on it, I felt guilty because I wasn't making money. And so, per hour, and how that serves, I'm a resource to our business as well. If I'm not being utilized well, then it hurts the business.
Right.
And so these are lessons that I've learned over the year. I'm sure everyone watching, share your lessons. Let us know more tax questions that you guys have. James, thank you for a few of your comments. This is really powerful stuff. I always say, like, if to accomplish something greater than yourself, it takes more than yourself. There's certain fundamentals of business, like accounting, like sales, like marketing, like admin and operations, and you need those players in the game. And so you guys are obviously hanging in that one area. We're both salespeople.
Yeah.
And so what does that look like for you within your company?
So I basically developed our sales team. I am the guy that goes out and networks with guys like you, that brings leads into our company. I travel a lot. I join mastermind groups throughout the year. Like, I just stay in that business space, and I love it. I mean, I'm so honored and grateful that that's my job. Like, I go to Dallas every month. I go to, groups like the Arate. I join groups like Sales Ascenders, and I just get to meet awesome business owners and help solve problems for them, and then get them into our ecosystem as clients. And I love that when we acquire a client, I'm ultra grateful for it, but I'm just grateful that my duties are to go out and actually do business with these people, because that's what's fun for me. That's what I love doing. And I didn't figure it out for a long time, but that has become my passion. Like, I want to help business owners not go through the things that my dad went through and took his family through, right? And it's like, when I hear stories of helping us, pull people out of that, that's so rewarding to me. It's like way better than the paycheck, right? And I know it's easy to say now, because I have built a pretty good business. Like, I have a pretty good income, and I have an awesome life. And so it's really cool that money doesn't matter as much as it matters to actually have those experiences with clients and all these business groups I'm a part of. And so that I'm just super grateful that is my job, is to go out and do things like we're doing right now. So, but that is my job. Every month, I meet with sales teams. I meet with our accounting teams. Me and Trevor, we train our accountants. We give them, from the business owner standpoint, like how to service them, because we realize business owners don't want to be accountants. Like you said, like, they want to be working on what brings money into their business, but accounting, taxes are the biggest expense to a business. So you need to look at your accountant like they are a profit center. Like, they are a very small investment that brings you back a return because of the money that you're not missing anymore, by creating that type of culture where you're just on top of it all throughout the year, as opposed to avoiding it.
There's definitely a defense play there, and even some offense as well in terms of opportunity cost. So you're the sales guy, bringing some of that up, and so everyone's hearing that piece. That's part of everyone listening. What helped kind of click, at least for myself, is I understand KPIs. Mm-hmm. I understand, sales goals, and so having P&L, balance sheet, studying those, having a process where it's not on me to process it gets done better. And you already have your cadence. So it's just like brushing your teeth. You don't think about brushing your teeth. You just brush your teeth. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, everyone watching, right? But it becomes that type of a habit, and mentally, emotionally, it's not really a thing. But it really makes a huge difference, not just for you, the business owner, but also for the entire team. A lot of times, if you're all of us have probably worked for somebody or been a part of a team in terms of not being the leader role at some point. When there's uncertainty, game over. Am I going to have a job? But when you have things in order, there's a different sense of security, focus, joy. Culture can grow in a much different way. It really makes a huge impact in the business. So you have your monthly cadence. You're living what you preach. You're eating your own cooking, so to speak. just for fun, let's more on the personal side, Kale. What are a few things that you like to do for fun?
Oh, fun things. It's this is a discussion I've had with my wife and my business partners not too long ago, because it's like business is so fun to me, right? So
Yes.
it's like hard to disconnect from that. But one of my biggest whys, right? We have all our whys of why we do things in life and in business is really my family. And so we love to do family trips every year, multiple. We like to do some with the kids. We like to do some with just me and my wife. But I have 2 kids that are big time baseball players, so we travel around for that as well. But we like to hang out with friends too. We have small get-togethers. We don't have like a lot of friends anymore, because it's kind of hard to just have a lot of friends when you're a business owner and you're constantly working or on the road and all that. So we have a very small group of friends where we try to get together every month and just have fun. We'd like to travel together sometimes as families. Like Trevor's family's close with my family. I've got another friend that travels with us sometimes. But that's it, man. We do family vacations. Sometimes I get time to golf. Sometimes I got into scuba diving for a little while, but that didn't last. I haven't done it in a few years.
Probably hard to stay consistent with that one in St. George.
Yeah, exactly. We got some lakes.
Okay.
But yeah, some of the coolest scuba diving trips I ever did were like Cozumel. We've done some cool Channel Island dives and caught lobsters down off of California's coast. And we've done some dives here. We have like hot springs that are super deep up here in Utah. So we've done deep dives into those, like cool stuff like that. But I haven't done it in a few years, but that was really fun. I got into that for a while. Yeah.
How deep is deep?
So when you dive below like 120 feet,
like deep. Okay.
Yeah, like the nitrogen in your air tank switches from like 80 nitrogen 20, or from 80 nitrogen to 20 oxygen, whereas it's 80 oxygen 20 nitrogen when you're above that 120 feet. And so they call it narked out. When you go down below 120 feet, you start feeling dizzy or stoned or whatever, right? You start feeling kind of weird because you're getting so much more, nitrogen instead of oxygen. And so you have to be very careful. And so when you do deep dives, you have to get actually certified by slowly deep diving, like these guys in the military that do deep dives, they go down hundreds of feet. Like they have to build up to that over a long period of time to do that. And so, so there's deep diving, there's shallow diving, there's just, seeing cool coral reefs throughout the world, stuff like that. It's a pretty cool hobby, but I haven't been able to do it for a long time. I've been all in on the business, man, for like the last 8 years. So,
part of hanging out on that just for a second is obviously we're getting into business. We'll keep the convo going, but just taking a little break because just in this convo flow, because as business owners, it's easy to do that. It's easy to get sucked in, and you come out of it and you're like, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm third, I should probably drink some, I should hydrate, family, how it relates. It can be really, really consuming. Having good systems and people and team around you support the ability to go scuba diving and go on family trips and just connect. And it's also helpful to know, like, everyone watching, yes, you're not the only one feeling that. There are other people that you can connect with really, really quickly, because you're like, oh, we don't have to like take time and look, we're both all busy. We get it. Let's just hang out, laugh a little bit. We're going to go back to our businesses and we'll do it again. We'll pick up where we left off before. There are other people out there that actually need and would appreciate those relationships. Part of the premise of us creating this we're using a Facebook group. It's really more of a network that we're building. And as we're spotlighting more incredible people like yourself, it's sending that message out to everyone. So in terms of scuba diving, so I used to live in Hawaii. I lived in Hawaii for 4 years. Cool. And you had to be 14. It was when I was younger. So we moved there when I was 10. We left when I was like 13 and a half, just before I turned 14. And you had to be 14, at least 14, to get certified to scuba dive.
Right.
So my dad, like his friend, like would scuba dive, and my dad used to do it years ago, and so he brought over his gear. So I'm in the pool, throwing it all at the bottom, putting on the mask, clearing. Yeah. But I never got to get certified. Yeah. I mean, I could have later, but we moved to the desert in Vegas. So
well, if you go to If you go to Mexico, they'll certify you in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're like, what do you need? We'll
There
take
you
it.
go. We don't care if you die. You're certified. Just buy our stuff and go scuba diving.
Sure. Hey, can you put a regular in your mouth? Yeah, you're good. You'll figure it out. I'll be all
That's
right.
really how it is, because I took my wife there and she's not certified. And they're like, oh, no problem. We'll certify you right now. I was like, it's okay. We'll do it another time.
Nitrogen, oxygen. What's that? It's gas. It doesn't matter. I mean, whatever. So that's hilarious, man. So
but a good point though that you do bring up is, we were part of Ed Milet's group last year, and we got to be personally mentored by him a little bit. And this was a topic that was brought up, and he's like, listen, business is fun for all of us, but you have to go have fun. And you do have to disconnect from the business sometimes. You do got to rejuvenate, and so it is important. It is important to go do those things. And if everybody in here is business owners, like, it's really important that you do make that a part of your tax planning as well, because these business and vacations, even when I take my whole family, are huge tax breaks for me, because I do so much business even on the go, knowing how entity structuring works and corporate structuring and logging your corporate minutes and having meetings and looking for potential investment properties or opportunities or whatever. When you're on the road, you can turn these all into business trips completely legitimately and legally as well. So don't be afraid to disconnect, have fun in your business, and learn how to write those things off as well.
Just out of curiosity, everyone listening, just type. Let us know how often you meet with your accountant. I'm curious to see with people watching. Is it once a year? Do you meet monthly? Do you meet quarterly? Let us know, annual, quarterly, or monthly. I'd be curious to hear. And the sales guy and marketer in me is being triggered right now in the last statement you just made, because it's, have you planned out your vacations for 2021 yet? Like, come meet with your accountant. I'm like, whoa, I wouldn't expect the accountant line. But you're like, yes, like, let's actually talk about it. There might be an interest, because it ties directly into, a very common pain, obviously, for a business, a real business owner, entrepreneur. So I don't know. I'm sure you've thought through all those hooks and lines, but as an ideal client, basically, I was like, oh, that would probably catch my attention.
Yeah.
So what would that look like? No, I haven't planned that out. But anyway, man, no, so I appreciate and networking is a really huge component. What was it like? Are you still a part of Ed Milet's networking group?
I am. So I'm a part of a lot of groups, man, and it's cool because I get so much growth out of them personally, but that impacts and helps us evolve the business. But it's also just a great, grounds for meeting other people and continue to expand your network. Your network is everything, and that's kind of one of my main roles in the company is I'm a networker. And so, when you realize that like everything is your network or everybody is your network, it's like, it's a game changer, like your web dev guy is a part of your network and he has his own network, and your employees are a part of your network and they have their own networks. And when you realize that as a network and you can figure out how to constantly bring value to people in your networking, like it just opens up so many more networks because everyone has their own network, so it really is just it's incredible how much you can build and level up your business through like honing in on those networking skills.
I view networks as like just a really helpful tool. I was putting together my kit. They got like a new bed, and it's an Allen wrench, and you're tightening it, putting it together. It's from IKEA, and man, if I didn't have that tool, that Allen wrench, trying to jam my finger in there, like you can technically actually tighten it enough. You know what I mean? They'll jump around. If it might break a little bit here or there, you put it back together. But with the tool, like you can really go way faster. It's way tighter and a lot more sturdy. So kind of the networking thing. Hey, faithful Facebook user, I think you have to go to like StreamYard.com/Facebook, and then you approve it. We can see your face and name. Until then, faithful Facebook user says, I meet with my accountant every day. I work for him. There you go. And I don't know if that's one of your employees or if that's someone else, but either way, that'd be great.
Corey's in this group with me. It might be him.
There we go. If it's Corey, what's up, Corey? So, this all said, we appreciate you taking the time. Before we get to our last question here, where's the best place where people can find you?
You can go to our website, easieraccounting.com. You can go to our Instagram page, Real Business Owners. And then you can always reach out to us directly as well. I mean, if you go to easieraccounting.com, you'll see our toll-free number. But you can always find us on Facebook. You can private message me. I get so many leads from Facebook, and it's so crazy just being a part of these groups. So I get I get messages all the time, and I always reply to all of them, even if it is like someone that I've just got to hurry and get over to the team because they really need some tax consulting right away. So you can private message me on Facebook, just Kale Goodman. You can come add me as a friend, or you can look us up on easieraccounting.com and call us. You can follow us on Instagram at Real Business Owners, and you can always DM us there as well. We answer all of our DMs personally. We do get a ton of them. It's crazy. We built that group up kind of to almost 90,000 really fast, and we get a lot of engagement. But Trevor is like very dedicated. He's like, dude, I want it to the DMs and the responses to like really come from us and be authentic. Like, it's not something we want to just like sub out or outsource at this point. And so it is always us when we're replying in those DMs as well. So
awesome, man. Well, that's a premeditated thought, like service. Like it takes, I know you're going to have teams and system and thought and resource allocated to make that happen. So thank you for doing that. I always like to ask everyone at the end, business can be consuming and it really takes a lot to fight through all that. Usually entrepreneurs that like yourself have been around for over a decade. There is that clear sense of purpose. There is that clear sense of why. What is that for you that drives you?
For me, so for what's my why in business? Is that kind of
your why, and also kind of the impact, the legacy that you want to leave in the marketplace and in life?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So like I said, from my upbringing, man, like it really does. It's very rewarding to me to be able to provide a system, a process, a service to people that can really help them avoid a lot of the things I went through, but also we help a lot of people get out of those messes as well. So that really is awesome. I love that. But a bigger why for me over the years, that became a big passion for me. But also as I've developed like networking and I'm responsible for bringing leads into the company, and like I've gotten a lot more what is the word where it just kind of is like soul feeding, right? Like when I am able to help provide for a lot of families here within an organization, a lot of people depend on me and what I do here, and so it means a lot to me to just make sure that I live up to that. It means a lot to me to build a really cool organization. And we have a phenomenal culture here. Like people love coming to work here. And one of the biggest things I've learned, and I wasn't conscious of it for a long time, but one of the biggest things I've learned is like, man, when you take care of your people and your people are happy to come to work and your people really enjoy their opportunity and they always have more opportunity working with you because you always do what you need to do as a business operator, it's really, really rewarding because it also it shines through to your clients as well. You take care of your people, they'll take care of your clients, right? And so that's been a big thing for me. And we had that conversation not too long ago, Trev and I was like, man, like I don't even go to work anymore like thinking about the money goals. I used to be very, very like money driven, and I love money. There's a ton of benefits to money, but it's crazy. It's almost like I get up more now because of the people that depend on us here, and the mission that we're on, and just having everybody be a part of that, So I don't know if that answers your question exactly, but that's a huge part of my why. Obviously, my family's all in there as well. My kids, I want to be a great role model to them, and that all that stuff is important to me. But really feeding our culture here and making sure that our people are taking care of our clients is awesome. So.
The honest answer is the right answer, and Sean has labeled that fire. So yes, you did a great job there. Kale, thank you so much for hanging out. Everyone, Real Business Owner Podcast, check it out. There's new episodes weekly with interviews of real business owners just like you, just like me. Thank you for being a sales ascender, Kale, and taking some time to speak to all the other sales ascenders. We'll continue each week at the Spotlight series to share your story, your message, and you guys, Merry Christmas.